Hello, good evening. Welcome to Colorado Chronicles, where I walk you through some of the newest news to be hitting the Colorado area, not just Denver, not just the foothills, but all over. So, we got a lot to talk about today because we are ending the winter season and the activities in Colorado shift from winter sports to kind of the mud season. But we have the spring events. We got Elitch's opening up. So the shift from cold winter jacket to hoodie weather is upon us, and I am here for it. So I'm going to talk about Colorado River Compact. If you guys don't know what that is, it's really how the western states ration water. So, fun facts. Talking about other fun stuff like wildfires, hot topic. Get it? That's a bad joke. But we're going to talk about fire insurance, what they're doing to try to help out homeowners. When I get into it, I don't think it's that big of a help, but we're going to talk about what they're proposing to do and how it will affect insurance rates in Colorado. As you guys are jumping on, do me a favor, say what's up. Let me know where you guys are watching from today. Throw it in the chat. I see I got my boy Christian White and Allie. Is Allie with us tonight? Jumping on. I'm off the ship and ready for you to get going. All right. All right. Well, welcome. I am here. I am ready for you. Thank you, Christian, for always keeping me accountable to a timely show start. Cozumel, nice and warm. Yeah, I could. The really February is when I need to get the hell out of Colorado for a little bit, but March is probably my favorite month as far as the winter because you can go skiing, snowboarding, do this stuff, and sometimes you're up there wearing a just a hoodie or t-shirt sometimes because the weather is getting nice. So that's exciting. I'm pumped. I'm heading up to Vail this weekend. We are looking like we're going to get 10 to 18 inches up in Vail. So winter months going out with a bang. A lot of the resorts, if you were on with me last week, a lot of resorts are coming into their final weeks, except for a basin, Arapahoe Basin, which stays up super late. But this is the time to jump on, say, chop it up. If you guys are watching the replay, we do this live most every Thursday at 6:30. I'm gonna do every Thursday except the last Thursday of the month. We're gonna have a little dinner party hang at Murphy Manor here. So I won't be on last Thursday of the week, but every other one you can jump on here live. If you have questions about living in Colorado, moving to Colorado, fun stuff going on, or you just want to chop it up, we could do that. This is where that happens. So first thing gonna get into today, just let's talk about that snowstorm because I know people were getting stoked. I know we've been feeling the weather back in Austin with the hot tub. Okay, Allie's in the council meeting, fishing. Thanks for the updates, Christian. Even the summer, Vail is nice. Yeah, Vail is nice. A lot of resort towns, they're fun to stop into during the off season. Not everything is going to be open, but it's still a different vibe. And a lot of the resorts now are offering mountain bike passes, like a day or two on the Epic or Icon Pass, so you can go up and have fun in the summer. I went to Vail this past spring, summer. Was it fall? It was fall. Leaves were changing. Absolutely gorgeous, ripping it through the mountains. So excited for all the mountain bike activities that are coming up too. That's another shift that we're having as we go into the springtime. Mountain bike season is upon us. Over here, where I'm at in Idaho Springs, we have the Argo Mine is building a gondola to the top of the mountain, which I think is awesome. So there's a big trail. Kind of the trail was there, but it really got dialed in by a couple. Trek got involved, so a couple mountain bike sponsors, to really turn the Virginia Canyon Trail into a beast with ramps and jumps and all kinds of fun stuff. But the tricky part about it was like an hour for me, just going at a steady, moderate pace to get up the hill. And I went down one time, had a great time, and but going up a second time, my stems were tired. So having a gondola to go up to the top, ooh, baby, I like that. What up? We got our mortgage broker AF, Nathan Eichhorn, jumping on. What is up, Nathan? What are you doing for the end of season? Are you doing anything fun? I'm I'm enjoying the last of the I'm enjoying the last of the cold runoff from. I mean, it'll still be cold. We'll still have the runoff in the creeks for a while, but I know, Nathan, you are a fellow cold plunger, and I do it God's way. I get in that freaking creek across the road from me and got in there today. It's a cool and breezy, icy 33 degrees. If you can go 3 minutes at 33 degrees, ladies and gentlemen, you have beat the cold. You are Mr. Freeze off the Batman. You are Arnold Schwarzenegger. Um, you are the man. You have beat the cold. And I have beat the cold. I beat the cold regularly. Um, I don't know if that makes me more of a man, but in my head, it does. In my head, I am a beast. I am a giant. I am big until I leave my house and I go to jujitsu and I get my ass kicked by large people. Nathan, going to Breck one last time next Thursday. Hell yeah, I'm going up to Vale for 2 days with a couple of homies. So that's gonna be a fun time. Let's talk about the weather coming in. So we always get this spring snowstorm. Luckily, I don't think homeowners yet have planted their plants yet. There's typically down in the Front Range, everybody goes out, they buy their. I just read Christians. I'm not going to pop that up on the screen, Christian, but bless Allie for putting up with you. Um, so the people buy their flowers, they love it, and we're getting into hail season, which will be in one of our topics when we talk about insurance here in a little bit. But everyone will plant their plants, feeling good, feeling strong, getting the garden going. Then Mother Nature says, "Not yet, son," and she will blast all those plants with a hailstorm and their roofs. So there is Tornado Alley. We are in Hailstorm Alley out here, and one of the reasons why insurance rates are high up here because most Colorado roofs, they do not last full the full life expectancy, which is typically for a regular dimensional roof, like 30 to 35 years. So before they get beat up and blasted by hail. And you'll see all the cars in Denver going, the ones that don't have the comprehensive coverage. You know who those people are because their cars look like a Titleist golf ball with just pits all over them. But let's talk about the storm. So we are supposed to get uh, 2 feet of snow in the mountains and 9 inches in the Denver area. Now, they say this a lot. They call it Snowmageddon, and they give it crazy names. I don't see a crazy name here. But sometimes it hits, but a lot of times, I'd say more often than not, um, they they miss, and it's like half of what they say it's gonna be. Christian, I'll talk about roofs here in a little bit, types of roofs that I recommend. I'll get into that here as we move forward. Talk about things with like fire risk and hail damage risk that that you can do to just lower your premium and lower your odds of having to do costly um, what is it, deductible replacements. So we're 1 to 5 inches. Loveland, Fort Collins, not getting a whole lot. That's not Loveland Mountain, Loveland, the snow resort. That is Loveland Plains, Loveland. 3 to 8 inches in Arvada. Down south, Parker, Larkspur. They're looking to get 4 to 11 inches. I think that's down in Nathan's area. South Aurora, they call it North Parker now, I guess. Floyd Hill, 6 to 12. That's kind of my hood over there. Uh, Luckily, I get to beat the traffic a little bit by being a little bit further in the mountains here. Breckenridge, I highlighted Vale here because that's where your boy is going to be out in Vale, 10 to 18 inches. Super stoked about that. 9 to 27 inches up in the Mount Warner area, and 8 to 21 down in San Juan's, um, down by like Wolf Creek Pass, Alamosa Valley, everything like that. So exciting. I'm excited for it only because I am going boarding. So there you go. So fun stuff. Get ready. We are going to get to know the awesome weather that we have will be behind us. Um, Other news, fun fact, because we are rolling into 420, man. Hey, man. Very Colorado day for us. Uh, Colorado, I think it was 2019, 2014, is when, was it 2014 when weed was legalized? But it's been a minute now. We were one of the first states. My family back in Ohio, they're like, what happened? Was it absolutely crazy? I said, no, it was pretty much the most chill day in Colorado ever, if you get what I'm saying. The lines outside the dispensaries at that time, they looked like uh, carnival rides at Cedar Point or Elitch Gardens, just long waits outside, and Papa John's deliveries went way up. That is right around the time where Peyton Manning made probably one of his best investments into a whole bunch of Papa John's franchises. But now you can get gas and grass. So Native Roots has had 3 pot shop stations in Colorado Springs, that they were, well, 3 of their, they had 3 locations that were selling marijuana at the stations. However, it was only medicinal, but that is changing. So they are now going to start having recreational marijuana for 21 and up. So grab your gas, grab your grass, and that's pretty crazy. It's amazing. I remember anytime anybody would come in and visit, and even if they weren't into uh, weed, man, even if they weren't into it, I'd take them into a dispensary because I'm like, you gotta see it. It's kind of crazy how you could just go in there. You don't have to go into somebody's weird van or somebody's smelly house into their basement and buy marijuana that way. So Native Roots is one of the larger dispensaries in the area, and they are piloting the gas and grass. So that is cool and exciting. We're also, if you remember from probably a few months back, I mentioned they're having now weed restaurants. It's not exactly called a restaurant, but uh, weed places where you can go, almost like a hookah bar, but a weed bar. They're gonna have weed on the menu. They're gonna have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and all kinds of stuff like that to get you going. Um, Never a problem with the airlines. Okay. Yeah, I guess. We no longer have the come and go gas stations. I used to have a come and go gas station, which always gave me a chuckle. It was spelled with a K. Dirty, dirty, dirty Christian with the comments. But come and go, KUM and go, always got a chuckle out of me. But those all changed to Maverick gas stations. So goodbye to the silly name. You will be missed. Other 420 activities that we have coming on. The biggest one is going to be over in kind of the most famous is taking place over in Civic Center Park, the 420 Festival, Denver's flagship cannabis celebration. This year's lineup is going to be Corday, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Those are my homies from back in Ohio, not my homies, but Bone Thugs represent Conway the Machine, Kali, Nukel, people I don't know, Souls and Mischief. But this year it is not free. And I think what they're trying to do is a couple years ago, it got a little rowdy. There was a shooting at Central Civic Park for the festivities, which is not chill at all, man. That's not the vibes we're going for. So this year it is going to be a $25 fee to get in. There is a $175 VIP pass, which I really like the VIP pass because sometimes you want to get away from the smelly, dirty hippie aspect of the thing, and you want to go grab a beverage without having to wait in the long lines. To me, that was the best part of the deal. Was the VIP thing. It's always just not having to wait in lines. I'm all about that. So, VIP lounge has private bar, upgraded restrooms as well is another big thing. Front stage access, kind of side stage access, commemorative bags, sponsor gifts, meet and greet with Tommy Chong. That's what's up. Just a reminder, kiddos, you got to be 21 or older to get in with a government issued ID, which is crazy that you have to have a government issued ID to get into the event, but not to vote in some states. Weird. There is also 420 on the rocks with Wiz Khalif. and other artists. So if you want to go have some fun, probably going to be still a little bit of snow on the ground. And then there's a whole cannabis week at the Tetra Lounge and Arch over in the Rhino Art District. Few things going on in Rhino Art District this week, but they kick off on Friday with glass blowing vendors as they would, and prevent performances by Devin the Dude. Saturday, more music, food trucks, top cannabis brands. On Sunday, this is where I get down. Cannabis friendly yoga. Now, if I do any, it's typically when I do yoga because I know nobody's going to be calling me. This is my quiet time. Nobody's going to be reaching out to me. So early in the morning, that's when I'll have my little edible and get down on some great jams and yoga. So I'm all down with that. One of the vendors is actually going to be giving away free yoga mats, $15 for yoga and um yoga mat. That's cool. What else we have? And there, here is a picture of the event in Denver. So it is at right in front of the Capitol building, which I think is pretty funny and crazy. Also, there's always at in Folsom, not Folsom Field, the field next to Folsom Field, though, where a lot of people do tailgating up in Boulder. That is another big event where all those college students go and blaze up. And it's kind of, I mean, it's an experience. Even if you're not into it, I encourage people to go just see this stuff, especially if you're not from here and this is something new to you, because it'll blow your mind. You're like, is this smog? Is there a cloud going over the town here? No, it is just a giant cloud of everybody toking up at 420. So something to see. Have fun, be safe over there at on your 420 on your 420, man. See some other people jumping on. You guys, don't forget to say what's up. Let me know where you guys are watching from. If you are watching, pump up the video for me. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate you appreciating me on the video. And if you guys want to send in questions, if you can't make it for the live stream, you can send your questions to Sean.Murphy at the Moxie Property Group.com, and I will get those and we can walk through those. A lot of good questions come up on this show and called show this chat, and on Saturdays 8 a.m. I walk through all the newest, the hottest, the latest, the sexiest homes to be hitting the Foothills market just west of the greater Denver metro area. So a lot of good questions coming up about a lot of questions have been about like fire mitigation, short-term rentals, stuff like that. But next up we're talking about Denver. Denver's permitting process. It says they are streamlining this and they are standing on their business, saying if it can't process your construction permit in roughly is a weird word to put in there, right? Roughly 180 days, the city will refund your developer fees. So Mayor Johnson announces permitting overhaul process includes more department coordination. Now, this, if you were with me a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, Denver is acquiring technology, AI technology, and wizards to help streamline the permitting process. Before it was taking around like 267 days. They say they're going to get that down to 180. And if the one-stop shop fails to meet the threshold, developers can recoup up to $10,000 in application fees. But this is coming after this 1.3 billion, no, million, $1.3 million investment into this AI software to help out with the permitting process. So that is great. I think that's going to help out a lot of developers, obviously, but also for the new rules around accessory dwelling units. A few months ago, Denver really went way lax on the ADU rules, accessory dwelling unit rules, mother-in-law suites, whatever you want to call them, to carriage houses type things, so that to help combat the just cost of housing out here. Can I do a live stream on 420? What day of the week is 420? The answer is probably no. Well, I mean, what am I? I'm not going to just smoke up and toke up with you guys here on the channel. That's not really what we're doing here. 420 is on a Sunday. No, Easter Sunday. No, I am not. I am definitely not going to be going live with you guys on that day. Go capture some eggs. Go, go praise the Lord. Landlords are getting screwed. We're actually going to be talking about landlords here in a bit because for the second time, a technology software out of Texas down by you, Christian, has been swatted down, saying it's unfair practices and um, price fixing on renters. So we're gonna get into that a little bit, but say more. Uh, say more, Nathan. What do you mean by screwing the landlords? Next up, let's talk about insurance here. So that is the hot topic out in Colorado. So not only in the foothills, because the foothills, our number one, our number one threat up here is wildfires. We don't have hurricanes. We don't really have earthquakes. We don't. We haven't had earthquakes in a long, long time. We're we're not immune from them, but hasn't really been an issue for us. Uh, so we don't have tornadoes in the foothills. We do out in the plains out east, but hail or wildfires are the biggest threat for the mountains, and hailstorms are the biggest threat for the Front Range area. So up in the foothills, we are a little bit higher in elevation, so we just get that snow. If we do get hail, it's the really small pellets coming through. We have our in-house interior designer saying she likes my hat and I look cute. Blushes. Thank you, Brooke. Good to have you on. Um, they are allowing people to build mini homes in the backyard. Uh, I don't know if it's going to be a nightmare. The big thing with around that is around, I think, parking in some of the areas like Southwest Denver, where there's already no HOAs, and so you get a lot of people with construction companies or landscaping companies that park all their trucks on the streets, and sometimes they can get pretty tight on some of these roads. And if they do allow them to have ADUs in the background, that is one of the big concerns is just the additional parking congestion, everything like that on the streets. But going back, talking about the insurance here. So one of the things that they're doing, so Polis has two bills coming through. The first bill is Bill 1302, create two enterprise boards. And what they're trying to do is put a 1% kind of like tax, 1% premium on your insurance already. And you're like, well, how is that helping to solve the problem here? The premium is going to be going towards software to help identify risk areas so that insurance companies can make better decisions around the rates, I guess. Um, uh, the second 0.5% of the fee, one of the levies would be 0.5% on the insurance premiums to pay for a reinsurance program to help offset insurance wildfire losses. And the other 0.5% on premiums would be manage a grant program to help owners buy hail resistant roofs, which again, okay, we could talk about it now. Which roofs are best? Well, definitely a metal roof is going to be the best thing to go with. The tile roofs, clay roofs that you see in like Phoenix and some in California, those will those will hold up better. Insurance companies like those not only for the hail resistance of them, but also wildfire resistance because typically it's not the fire setting your house on fire. Typically, it is the ambers going through the air that land on your roof, which is basically a whole bunch of oil just igniting your house. So the other thing that they are doing, the other bill is, let me find it here. Bill 1182 regulate how property insurance companies can use computer models to predict risk and then use that information to set rates. Talk about price fixing. Consumer advocates say these models inflate costs and would do not take into consideration any mitigation work done by property owners and communities. If the bill becomes a law, insurance companies would be required to inform customers of their wildfire risk score and explain steps they could take to improve the score and potentially lower costs. Now, I talk about this all the time on my videos. It has really been a hit or miss with who's going to insure your property. I have homeowners, not everybody. I don't want to send everybody up in arms and get scared about buying in the mountains, but insurance companies are pulling out of certain areas. There's no rhyme or reason with if it's going to be State Farm, Allstate, Crow Insurance, some of the local providers up in here that are going to insure your home. But for example, a house could be insured by State Farm, but if you buy that home, they say they're no longer going to insure that property once that current homeowner's policy is complete. And all the other homeowners might also be on State Farm. However, State Farm is like, we are at our risk tolerance for the area. We are not willing to take on any more risk. If this whole neighborhood goes up in flames, we don't want to be the ones holding the bag. So it is hit or miss. We have a list on our team of about 30 insurance providers in the area. So right when you go under contract, it's a good idea to start calling through. There will be insurance providers to I mean, at this point, it hasn't got that severe yet. You will be able to find insurance provider with a rate that is reasonable. At least all my clients have found them to this point. But I just always like to set the precedence that do not expect the first company that you call or your current provider, wherever you are in Texas, to insure their home. You might have to make a few more calls to find one that's going to work for you. The other act is the Fair Plan Act. So this is kind of like a last resort for insurance, and I have some qualms with this. So the Fair Plan was created in response to homeowners struggling to find insurance in wildfire risks areas. So this isn't to take this isn't to take this isn't supposed to be your first resort. It's really supposed to be your last resort. And the problem that I have is this spot right here, up to $750 worth toward replacement cost. Now, I track the market. I track the market for um, all the factors regarding selling. And this is just looking at Evergreen. I like to use Evergreen as a model because it is kind of like the first mountain town, and it's one of the largest mountain communities. So if you just pull stats by Evergreen, you get a fairly good idea of where the trends are going. And if you look at the average sold price here, you will notice that they are all above $750,000. So, what good does the Fair Plan Act do if it doesn't work in our area? So, they definitely got to come up with something different to help out homeowners. And I mean, we've had several wildfires, but not even in just the mountains in the Front Range. We in 2021 we had the Marshall Fire, which burned up hundreds of homes in a residential community. $2 billion worth of homes and commercial buildings were affected by this. So, um, yeah, this is a problem. It's where I'm gonna stay on top of it. So just stay tuned with your boy, Mr. Murphy, and I will keep you guys up on the deets on the streets with what's going on with that. Talking more about housing this week. A Colorado House passes a bill banning the use of algorithms believed for driving up apartment rents. And I am also kind of on the fence about how much I like this. So basically, what they're saying is that a software company called, what is the company? Real Page is the company here, and so Colorado House Bill 1004. What it does is it bans the use of algorithmic devices that are used to set recommended rental prices or occupancy levels in rental housing. It effectively targeted the company from Richardson, Texas, saying that it's facilitating price fixing via its algorithm. So the software takes rents and occupancy data from property owners, and recommends prices and rental targets. Now, there are other sites like this. I don't know why exactly Real Page. I haven't looked at their page to see exactly what they might be that's different, but there's tools like Rental Meter and others that will give you an idea of what the prices are in the area. But to me, it's like if I am a landlord, if I am a homeowner, a rental owner, I want to know what the rates are going. And it is kind of hard to tell other than just like scanning Craigslist, scanning Zillow to see what properties are going for. As a real estate agent, that is one of the biggest, most important conversations that I have with my clients. It's around what the price would be. And what do? I go look at the data online to see what the homes have been selling for. So would that be price fixing? Right? Would that be price fixing? And let's I mean, nobody's doing charity out here. Never once. As much as people complain about home prices, unaffordability, and the need for change, never once, never have I ever had a homeowner come to me and say, I feel for these first time home buyers. So let's sell the property for under what I can get for it to help these folks out. Never once, never ever. People think that equity is their right, and I guess it is. But I feel like all the charity goes out the window when it comes to their own personal property. So everybody wants everyone else to do something different than what they are, and I think that is that's not the way that we right? That's not the way it works, right? You should act in a way that you want all of society to act, but I just don't see it IRL. It just doesn't happen. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate you. I feel like you should do what you like. Amen, brother. This is America. Do what you like. But again, I don't understand. I haven't seen the website specifically to see what they're doing, but this bill passed 4322. Actually more Democrats are against it and Republicans are for the bill to limit the use of this system. Denver area apartments that use the rent setting software, those tenants paid more than $1,600 extra for housing every year compared to other renters. That is the second highest toll of the 20 major metropolitan areas studied. Only Atlanta outstriped Colorado's capital city. No, you don't win. You lose. You lose. All right, we'll go into some lighter topics here. Elitch's is opening up, and my least favorite amusement park that ever been into. This is its 35th season, and it was supposed to have been its last season. If you've been watching the channel, I've reported that they plan on demolishing this hot spot in Denver real estate right along I-25, just tucked in there, the northwest side of the city. Prime real estate. They've been talking about what is going to be demolished at some point for the new River Mile project that's going to be coming in. A lot of outdoor space, a lot of additional housing going into that area. So Elitch's wasn't supposed to be opening up, but you have at least one more year to go to this lackluster amusement park in Denver. So it's opening on 420, man. Hey, come get some. And yeah, they have all kinds. It's a water park, theme park, everything like that. I think I am super biased. I know I'm super biased because I grew up near one of the best amusement parks in the country, Cedar Point. Hell yeah, America's roller coast. But if you are looking for a fun summer activity for an amusement park, the one I do highly, highly recommend Waterworld. Waterworld is a great um, amusement park, water park. It is got all kinds of awesome. It's big. It's right along like 88th and Pecos, up in the north part of Denver, and it has all kinds of fun rides for all ages. So I'll pull up some of the attractions here. Cool. They got, of course, they got the kiddo section, the thrill rides, the zipper or whatever it's called, all the big slides, the revolution, the zoomerang, the zoomerang warp speed. So fun day at the water park. I like the wave pool. Wave pools always get me. It's always a good hang. So definitely, if you are in Colorado, you're looking for fun summer activities, like, especially the ones to beat the heat when it's blazing out there. Highly, highly, highly recommend you go check out Waterworld. Just like all the other activities, like mountain activities, if you can not go on the weekend, that's going to be an amazing experience for you because it gets bumping on the weekend. Oh man, this one warmed my heart too. So Colorado is getting our first Cracker Barrel. Hands up, anyone that's been to a Cracker Barrel and experienced just this just wholesome restaurant from back east. So they are opening their first location. Where's it gonna be? It's gonna be over, I think it's gonna be over, oh, Central Park area. Um, so if you haven't been to a Cracker Barrel, the food isn't absolutely okay. We got one big fan. Great memories. The gift shop is super fun. They have all kinds of, like, I feel like country themed games and memorabilia and toys and coloring books and books and wooden toys and all kinds of stuff like that. So Cracker Barrel opened its first location in Tennessee in the 1960s. Um, and it's got all kinds. Now, here's the other thing that I don't like about what they did, because they, if you guys know Cracker Barrel, you know the pegboards, and they're making it, they're they're numbing it down. They're woking the boards, I would say we would call it. So the previous game, if you had got three, if you left three pegs on the board, they would say you were just plain dumb. Those who left four on on the board, you were called just plain ignoramus. And they're now changing that. Now the game tells those who live three or more behind that they should try again, and there's no reason to be embarrassed. You know what? Let's bring back shame. Do better. Uh, so they're trying to be sweet. They're trying to dumb it down, but always a fun time. I see a lot of times. It's really bumping Sundays after church. It's a great time just to for the family to get together and get a good meal without. I mean, good meal, not great meal. It's good. Giant menus, one of those places. Giant menus. You get a little bit of everything. Get yourself a Bloody Mary in the morning. But yeah, good food, not great food, and reasonable prices. So super stoked for a Cracker Barrel. I'm normally super against places from back home coming out here. Like, I didn't like when Yingling beer came out here. I didn't like when Dunkin' Donuts came out here. I'm like, that's what I go back to the East Coast for. But I am happy to see Cracker Barrel making their way out here. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. D'Artagnan is my dog is behind me. He is snoring up a storm. What else do we have? Another spring activity is coming up this weekend over in Rhino. Hopefully, there's not too much snow, but they are having their Rhino Spring Bazaar with 80 local vendors, spring cocktails, DJs, and hopefully sunshine. It's not looking like it, but even if it's the snow, if it's the snowy day and you go day drink, you can warm yourself up by doing that. So you do need to get tickets for this. You could reserve tickets, but they have ticket packages including bottomless drinks, things like that. I like that money outfit. Good style, girl. So you can get the unlimited Palmer. Let me try that again. Cron There's an R on there. I'm not even try it. From 11 to 1, you can have White Claw is sponsoring it this year, so $20 plus a $2.20 fee, and you can get lit on some Arnold, Arnold Palmer's and drinks like that mixed with White Claw. Indoor yoga class, Glenado yoga mat. So this is the time that I said you can go do some yoga, a $15 fee and a 90 $15 and a 1.93 cent fee, but you also get a yoga mat with that. Then they also have probably a better idea indoor yoga drink tokens for $20 each, five drink tokens, three for 20, five for 30, and go have some spring fun. Get sprung. Lastly, just gonna lay a little bit of Colorado knowledge education down on you. So Colorado, I love our water. I was actually having a conversation with a client just the other day. They're like, "Is the water good here?" I'm like, "It's one of the best, some of the best water I've had visiting any area, especially when I go back to Ohio. I could taste like the chlorine in the water. And I love Colorado, and it is so good and tasty because we are pretty much where all the water starts off the Rocky Mountains. And in Colorado, it's gone through less shit, literal shit, to get to your mouth. So our water is super delicious, but we do have agreements. The Colorado River Compact, it was signed in 1922 as a foundational agreement that governs the allocation of Colorado River's water streams among 7 U.S. states, kind of the like Wyoming, Utah, and the lower states, New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Nevada, parts of California also have rights to that water. So the way that this is just fun facts for you guys today. The way that it's broken up is into two basins. Let me see if I can zoom in on this here. So there are essentially two basins. Um, one is Lake Powell, and the other is I think Lake Mead, I think that sounds correct. Those are essentially the two basins, and you see you have the upper basin that feeds Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, and the upper parts of Arizona and New Mexico, and the lower basin, which is Nevada, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. The problem is that each state has rights to the water based off of how much water they need. And what annoys the hell out of me is, yeah, yeah, well water is great. Well water, so each and I get this question a lot too about wells, like how is the water with the well? Well, each mount area of the mountain is going to have different type of minerals in the water. So each home will have different well production rates, and it'll have different water quality. So we always do a potability test on the water, but each home will have like a unique water filtration system based on the minerals that they have in there. Okay, getting to this question. Yes, rainwater collection can help. Probably about 8 to 10 years ago, Colorado did start to allow gray water to be collected, and that is basically the big barrels that you can put at the bottom of your downspouts. Now we only get about, I think it's like 12 to 17 inches of rainfall a year, which is not too much. So you're not going to be getting too much, um, but yeah, you can collect water to water your plants, things like that. There are areas like Highlands Ranch, which is all on a water aquifer. So since we don't have, I mean, we don't, you would think that we have all the water, right? We're Colorado, we're where the water starts. But since this Colorado Compact Agreement was signed, we have to give water to these other states. So there still can be um, water limits, what's it called? Like water restrictions that are enacted, not because we don't have enough water here, but because other states have rights to the water as well. But areas that there are developing, like Highlands Ranch water fee is continually going up because as it's grown, they don't have enough water in their aquifer to be able to supply everyone. So they're essentially buying water from Denver Water to help out with the residents. And essentially, a water aquifer is water that's held underground. Kind of think of it like a lake that's underground. You have like a lake with a slate basin at the bottom, and as all the mountains have deteriorated and created sediment and sand and all of our rocky sandy soil here is basically like a filtration system. So it's like a layer of soil on top of this lake of water, and it's being basically held up by a level of slate underneath. Fun facts. What's our aquifer called? Um, I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific one in what it's called. So yeah, that is a fun fact about Denver water. Let me see. Anything else we should know? And yeah, so they can continually see if you go through Utah or you go through um you go by the reservoirs and drive along them, you will see where like the water line used to be. Like just it'll be a high water line, and now you can see where it's at. So definitely less water as we became more of a hot, arid climate. And issues like drought, climate change, increased demand, all this is stressing the system. So I know back at one point they actually tried, people in Colorado tried to say that they weren't allowed, we're not going to allow any more people into the state. It's kind of unconstitutional, right to travel, right? But they did try to do that at one time, just seeing that this wasn't possible to sustain all the water need here. So super exciting stuff. But that's basically what I have for you guys for the day. Christian asked, "Do you have to pay a permit to have rainwater collection?" No, you don't. Um, and regarding like wells and things like that. So there are well permits, but there are also a whole lot of unregistered wells and community wells up here, especially in the mountains. So a homeowner might not have a well on their property. It might be a shared well that is accessed by like four of the neighbors have the rights to access the well. So if the well head is on your property, there is some form of easement which allows the neighbors to access your property to do anything that they need to do for their well pump or anything like that if needed. So a lot of stuff that's like super nuanced and situation based with wells. That's why you gotta call your boy Sean Murphy when you guys are looking to buy in the mountains because I got the deets on the streets with making sure that you're protected and you know exactly what you're getting into. Also, if you have a low producing well like Teller County down by like Florissant, Woodland Park, those areas, they have a lot of like lower producing wells. So there's a steady stream of water, but it's just not a gusher of producing like more than like 2.5 gallons per minute. So a lot of homes down there will have water cisterns in their garage or in their utility room. It's just basically a big holding tank. And the purpose of that is that that will fill up as you sleep. As you're sleeping, that will fill up. And then throughout the day, as you're using the water for dishwasher, laundry, showering, you're not going to lose water pressure because it's first pulling from that tank throughout the day, and then it'll fill up again throughout the night. So, yeah, water permits, not a huge deal. Having a well permitted, of course, I mean, Colorado, of course, they want you to have your well permitted, but I've had plenty of properties that have multiple wells on them, and some of them aren't registered because I think it was like 1970s that they started registering wells. But if you have a unregistered well, to me, it's like people are like, is that a concern? Is that a big deal? And like to me, it's not. I like less tracking of what I have by the government at all times, right? So you just have a well that is under the radar, which is cool. And then also with wells, let's keep talking about wells. Well, let's keep on the topic. Uh, you can have a well. Most wells are for residential use only, but you can have your well permit converted if you need some for any type of irrigation, crops, or um, livestock. I'll have to cash out some stock and buy. Yeah, you probably should have cashed out your stocks before the market took a little bit of dive there, huh? But someday, Christian, we'll meet IRL. I have met. I love meeting my YouTube fam. You guys are always my favorite clients because I don't feel like I'm going on a blind date when I meet you guys. Like today, I had a listing appointment, and they don't know me, like me, trust me yet. So it's always like a blind date. I have to like. It's hard for me to like show them how awesome I am. Like, I'm not the type of guy to walk into a bar, walk up to a girl and pull a girl like that. I'm like, "Hey, let me talk to you for a minute. All right, let me tell you some jokes. Let me get you laughing, let me get you giggling. And then so I'm more of a long game. In some instances, oh, thanks, Brooke. It'd be nice to meet you sometime. Brooke's joking. I've known her for 10 years. Sometimes it takes 10 years for me to grow on people. Straws to a lake. Um, No, not straws to a lake, but I did just read a good book called Centennial, where a lot of the farmers coming out here, the big thing was the dry lands out east. It's like how do we get water to grow these crops when we're only getting 15 to 17 inches rainfall for a year? Great for wheat, but the land that was right along like um, the Platte River, that was super valuable land because you could do irrigation, have cattle, everything like that. But all the land that was further out, that was going for less than $1 an acre because it's like you can't grow anything on it. There's no water. Uh, you can have some cattle on there for the cattle grass, but that is about it. So it was useless for a lot, a long time until this Russian potato, his name was Potato Brumbaugh, came by and he figured out how you can basically do a not aqueduct type thing to run the water from the Platte River to your land. And at first, you weren't able to use that technique because then you were stealing from the people further downstream. But they found that the water, as it went into the soil, would quickly go back into the Platte River and replenish, so it wasn't stealing away from the people downriver. So they did that for a while, and then with the dry lands further out, they could still grow wheat and other crops, but they had to start uh, plowing their fields in different ways than you would in like Ohio or Virginia because the soil's light. We don't get much rain, and the high big winds that we would get. There's like the dust bowl that we had out here, and it would just rip out all your seeds and blow it over into Kansas. So you have to plow your fields differently out here in Colorado. You can't just plow straight lines. You have to, plow a little bit and then have a green line, basically a line of just grass to help bring down some of the wind speeds. So fun facts for you guys. So that is basically what I have for you guys tonight. Thank you for jumping on. We are almost at an hour. We just cruised through that. I would like to thank Red Bull, who didn't sponsor this episode, but definitely had a big helping hand. And that's all I got. So if you guys don't have any questions, if you guys are watching this later, definitely before you guys jump on, give me a thumbs up. But if you're watching later after the episode and you have questions for me, you can send them to Sean.Murphy at Moxie Property Group. Let me try that again. Sean.Murphy at moxiepropertygroup.com. Or you can go follow me on Instagram at Rocky Mountain Murph. All right, that's it. You guys have a great night. I love you. Goodbye.